Family, once again, very welcome to Tsitsikamma Canopy Tours. My name is Ronwin. Okay, this is Joe. He's the safety guide. I'm the lead guide. So the way to slide, as you can see how Joe is sitting. So as you can see, you got 3 connections. This cable is your main connection. Okay, so this cable can take a weight up to 3.8 tons. So as you can see, on this cable you got 2 connections. As you can see, one by the pulley and another one. So this one here is your caster, this one is your main one, your pulley. So as you can see, all the weight is on this cable, and by this one there's a little slack in there. So if something goes wrong, but it never happened before, but if something goes wrong, then this one strike in. And also we could there got the third one at the back. This one is your backup cable, and there's another sling going there. So that's mean you are 3 times connected. So the way to slide, so your left hand, your weak hand, right in the middle over here. Then your strong hand at the back of the pulley. Never ever in front of the pulley, never on top of the pulley. So at all times at the back of the pulley. When you are sliding, don't grab on the cable, okay? You must go slide with the pulley, okay? Sometimes Joe will wave you like this. The reason why he waves at you because he wants you to brake. So the way to brake, when Joe is waving, you just press down gently on the cable, okay? Once you get on the other side of the platform, don't use your feet against the platform to stop yourself. You lift up your feet onto the platform, okay? Joe, show us how to do it.
Woo!
Nice one. So who's next?
Nelly,
Come on, Nelly.
you can do this, Nelly. You've got this. Don't worry, I'm also pooping myself.
Nelly, you step up for me.
You go, girl.
Girl power.
Slide with you. Open the
There you go. Go, Nelly.
Go, Nelly.
Woo!
Collect Nelly. Beauty. And
Awesome.
don't worry about the brakes, okay?
Okay.
Sit in your harness.
There you go.
Yeah. There we go. So family, how was the third one? Good?
Very
Freaking
good.
awesome. Unbelievable.
I can see the eyes, see it all. The eyes said you guys still like it, eh?
We
Yes.
love it.
Still loved it. There we go.
How was it? Thumbs
Walk
up.
in the forest, walk in the park.
Walk in the park. Walk
Nothing
in the park.
much to it. Amazing. Can conquer the world.
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
coming back.
True story, hey?
That's good.
There you go.
Thank you.
Cool bananas.
Guys, so we're standing in the middle of Tsitsikamma Village. And I've got Lee-Marque Jansen from Tsitsikamma Tourism with me. Lee-Marque, thank you so much, firstly, for hosting us this weekend, and secondly, for chatting to me.
Awesome. It's been great hosting you here, and I'm so glad that you guys have enjoyed some of our adventurous activities. So hopefully you're going to enjoy the next ones that's coming up until you leave.
Absolutely,
Awesome.
absolutely. We're super excited to be here. It's been amazing. But I want to chat to you about tourism, and especially as the representative of tourism in this area.
Yeah.
Where do you want to take it? Where do you see it going?
I think one thing that we can say before we go to the future is that what we've realized is that our area or our industry is actually quite resilient. So whatever is coming, we'll definitely overcome it, and we can never be too certain. So I'm not going to go into very much specific about what we want to do as an association or where we are going. But I think the last few months has taught us a lot that we are working in silos.
Yes.
And that's one direction that we definitely need to focus on going forward, and that is our vision, to work more with our neighboring tourism communities, as well as other industries. I mean, there's so much opportunity for tourism to grow and make sure that it is sustainable. So that's going to be our focus going forward. I think in the past, a lot of tourism nodes was very independent, and they didn't realize that in order for any successful industry to work, you need to rely on each other, and that's going to be our focus going forward as a committee and as a executive of Tsitsikamma Tourism Association.
That sounds absolutely amazing.
Tsitsikamma is the ideal self-drive destination, but also it's perfect to come out any time of the year, to come and have a blast with your family. And something that's awesomely amazing about us is that we offer something even for the little ones until grandma and grandpa, even great grandma and grandpa can come out and have an amazing time with us.
Wonderful. And I think you touched on something that is really close to my heart, especially spending the weekend here, is that Tsitsikamma is not a stopover. It is a destination. It
is indeed a destination. If you're going to look at where we are located, you'll see that we're between George and Port Elizabeth, and a lot of time people will fly into George and they maybe want to just drive through and head on down to Edo or Grahamstown, or they would fly into PE and just drive up the Garden Road. But there's so much to do. I mean, spend 3 days in Tsitsikamma, 3 nights, and you'll experience a bucket list of adventures. I mean, you're spending how many nights? 4 nights?
Yes, and we've done so much.
Exactly, and there's still so much more to do.
Absolutely.
So
you hit the nail on the head.
So we an amazing destination. It's not just a stopover. We're the one-stop shop for families, friends, solo travelers. And one thing that I love about this place is that it's completely safe. I mean, come on, drive here. You can leave your vehicle at your accommodation. You can walk around. That I love about this place is that it's completely safe. I mean, come on, drive here. You can leave your vehicle at your accommodation. You can walk around. Last night we had an amazing vibe with live bands playing, some pizza in the background, all the smells that were going on. So it's a lovely atmosphere that we create here.
It really is. And as you said, there's something for everybody to do.
Yeah.
And there's really something for all types of people, from your nature lovers to your adventurers to fine dining, to fun dining, and you really have the best of all the worlds. You've got.
You forgot to say chisanyamas.
Oh, yes, absolutely, absolutely.
Yes, yeah. So we have literally something for everybody. I mean, if you want a quad bike, if you want a zip line, if you want to jump off a cliff, if you want to jump off a bridge, even. So we've got something for everyone to do, and you can decide if you want to glide ride or slide into the forest. We have that.
Awesome. We love it.
Awesome.
Lee-Marque, thank you so much again from our side. It was fantastic. We love Tsitsikamma. We love Tsitsikamma.
It's been great having you here with us, and we cannot wait to let you explore and go out and rediscover Tsitsikamma more.
Fantastic. We will definitely be back.
Awesome.
For sure. Guys, we are at Segway Tours here in Tsitsikamma Village, and I've got Kay here with me who's going to take us on a Segway tour. Kay, thank you for chatting to me and good morning.
Good morning, Miss Sharon. How are you?
Oh, I'm fabulous. I'm fabulous. The sun's shining, this place is gorgeous, so it's just absolutely fabulous. Now, quickly tell me, what is a Segway?
A Segway is a personal motorized vehicle. It has two wheels side by side, which the rider actually distributes their weight on it, how to control it.
Okay.
And it has two sensors, two in front and two at the back. So for you to be able to go forward, you're going to put pressure on your toes.
Okay.
And you're going to lean forward with your whole body to go forward. To go backwards, you're going to put pressure on your heels.
Okay.
You're going to lean back and then you go backwards.
Okay, cool. Okay. Well, this looks like a lot of fun. And tell me, your tours go into the forest, right?
Yes, correct.
Okay, and when people go on these tours, okay, firstly, can anybody ride or scoot around on a Segway, or is there any limits to who can do it and that type of thing?
Okay, so we take everyone except for pregnant ladies
Okay.
and also except for children ladies under the age of 4.
Okay.
So we start from 4 years of age and the child has to be 1.1 meter tall to be able to can drive a Segway.
Okay, okay.
So what we do is if the child can't control the machine but he or she is 1.1 meter tall, so basically we assist them by putting them on the machine at the back and we with the guide pulling them along the way.
Oh, okay. So it's an activity that most of the family can enjoy.
Most of the family.
Fantastic.
It's perfect for family activity.
Awesome, awesome. And then when we go into the forest, what can we expect to see?
You can see, first of all, breathe in the fine oxygen inside the indigenous forest. Also, as we wind through the forest, we can see our indigenous species like our Cape Heartbeat trees, the Linnea ventosa, our stinghood, our Otaniqua yellowwood trees. We basically get tree inside the forest, which is the Otaniqua podocarpus fulcatus, Otaniqua hankley, and the Otaniqua latifolius, which is the national tree.
Okay.
Yes.
Awesome.
So the second biggest growing species, which is not on the list of the yellowwood trees, which is the Cape Heartbeat tree, in brackets, or Linnea ventosa.
Okay, fantastic. And now, you guys don't just have Segway tours, you've also got lodges. Can you just tell me quickly about those as well?
Okay, so we also run the Tsitsikamma Backpackers as an accommodation site, and also the Village Lodge, which is opposite the Village Inn in Stormsriver Village. So
Fantastic.
basically we are three companies meld together.
Okay.
Two, which is accommodation, the Village Lodge and the Backpackers, and the other one, which is the Segway tours, obviously.
Yes, obviously. Speaking of which, are we going to go on a tour now?
Yes, ma'am, we're gonna go on a tour.
Awesome. So guys, we're going to spin around and scoot off on the tour. Would you like to lead the way?
Yes. Are you ready?
I'm so ready. Whee! This is super fun.
I'm going to take you to 2 trees, okay? One is our national tree, which is the Podocarpus latifolius. Then I'm going to take you to the second biggest growing species tree in South Africa, which is the Cape Heartbeat tree. In brackets, it's like a Latin woman's name, the Linnea ventosa. Right. Are you ready to go? Yeah. You sure?
We're ready.
Okay.
We're ready.
I filled a line here that you can't see. I'm not standing in front of the line. Can you see the line?
Front of the line.
Okay, so today I brought you to this tree right over here. This one is not our national tree, but not specifically this one, but the species of this kind of tree grows the second biggest in South Africa, right? It is called the K-Barte tree, in brackets, the Olinia ventosa, right? Olinia ventosa. Our national tree grows to 40 meters.
Jeez.
Right? Across the road, have you seen that board says the big tree?
Yeah.
That is not a national tree, right? But that is the biggest yellow wood tree in the garden road, which is 36.6 meters of height, almost at its height. So what made this tree more beautiful and the most amazing tree in Stormsriver? Because this is the only tree with a face on.
Oh.
The two eyes, the nose, and the mouth.
Oh my word. Okay.
The animals that we do get in Stormsriver Tsitsikamma, during the morning we can spot the vivid monkey, the grey one, the naughty one. When you chase him, he'll chase you back. So the more you chase him, now you're going to start annoying him, right? So it's not going to be one chasing you now anymore, it's going to be 4 or 5. Okay.
Phone a friend.
Then the baboons as well, but we never had any attacks from their side onto the human beings here. Then the night active animals is the honey badger, is the porcupine, is the fruit bats, is the night owls, is the caracal, which is the red cat, is the bush pigs, and last but not least, the mountain leopards.
Welcome, this is Stormsriver, it's my hometown. So I'm really happy to have you here and to host you and to take you through the forest in particular, and also to share with you some stories and how the people lived in the olden days. History is quite important. A lot of people don't like it because it reminds us of the past. But I think once you get to understand history, you can understand the future. In particular, the building that you see on your left, that is one of the oldest buildings we've got in the area, but that used to be an old hunter's lodge. Now when we talk about hunter's lodge, then of course there had to be hunters in the area, and why would people come to this area to hunt? The Tsitsikamma forest proved to be one of the most valuable forests back in the days, because we had these giant animals that lived here, elephants, bush pigs, antelopes. So there was a huge amount of animals in the area, and people flocked to this area first of all to cut the trees, but with that they need food, and they've realized when they came here that wow, it's a paradise. And if you look at the stone, you can see it is quite intact. So once we look at the architecture wise, currently the way that we construct our houses, sometimes you get cracks in between things, but if you look at this building, it looks quite solid. So the people had really good skills back in the days. And also most of the time they would use the material from nearby quarries, which was easily obtained, in the forest. When we drive down the pass, you'll see especially how the forest, the nutrient layer is situated. It's really a small amount, so it was quite easy accessible for people to get clay in the area. So you'll see a really nice piece where there's a lot of clay with different colors. But with the woodcutters living in the area, with the forest being so dense, it was really difficult. So the road that we're driving on now is one of the first roads or passes that was built by Thomas Bain. And the reason for the pass is because it was too dense for them to move, from place to place. Interesting enough, we'll show you further down that they used the elephant tracks, to build the pass on. So people were quite clever back in the day. So we've just passed the police station, and the area that we're going through now is called Akkerlanen. Akker means oak in Afrikaans and English converted. So if you look on both sides, you'll see there's quite a lot of oak trees. It's a mini Stellenbosch. The interesting thing of how oak trees came to this area were because of the Europeans back in the days when they came to South Africa. And Europeans like their wine. What happened were, because the oak trees grew perfectly solid and dense in Europe, and they used to make wine barrels from that. They imported these trees to South Africa in particular, and some of them obviously to the area because we have had a lot of Europeans here. But unfortunately, what they did not realize is because of the climate difference. Tsitsikamma has a lot of rain, it's wet all the time. Specifically here by us, we can get rain once or twice a week or once every second week. So the trees grew too fast and the wood were not as dense. So it was an unfortunate event for them, because then when they made the wine barrels, it started to leak. Tsitsikamma in particular as well, how the forest came to be is because of where we're situated, along the ocean and along the mountain. So if you have the ocean and you've got the mountain, and then right in the middle or on the slope you've got this beautiful forest, and why don't you get it anywhere else in South Africa? So it's basically our location between mountain and ocean. They call this whole forest or this area Afro-Montane, Afro-Africa Montane Mountain. So you would get the ocean, which is a large contributor with the hydraulic cycle. So you would get the water that's being heated with the sun. It rises up, the breeze blows it to the mountain, it condenses or rises, condenses, clouds form, it starts to rain. While you get on your mountain, it's quite a lot of nutrients. So with the water running down, leaching through, all the nutrients get leached to this point, and your plants get to grow. Now, why are we so excited about forest? Why do we need to protect it? Because we only have 0.25% left of trees, of natural indigenous trees. A lot of the animals moved away because now they had this paradise, and all of a sudden you started to hear saws and people hammering on trees, and they got a fright. So if they were not killed, they moved up to the drier areas. The forest, the ecology section is quite interesting here as well. Once we go further down, I'll show you the nutrient cycle or litter cycle that we have. If you look on the forest floor, how the forest gets divided into is a few different layers, and that is where you can distinct a few trees, be able to identify them, and also see where certain animals would live. It's a whole ecosystem working together, fighting together, trying to protect and to conserve and to survive. So if you go on your forest floor, you'll find normally your shrubs and your leaves, and that's where everything takes place. It's dark, it's wet, and it's cool. So that is called the black witch hazel. If you can touch it, you may. Underneath that plant, the leaf, it's got a hairy feeling, very hairy. Yes, those ones. So if you turn it around, you can feel it's a little bit hairy. Yes. So that plant belongs to the second layer of the forest. It's called the shrub layer, and it covers about 75% of the forest, and that's a lot. And with your woodcutters that lived in the area, they were quite skilled, because they're woodcutters, they work with wood. So they would import them and they would station them in the forest. But woodcutters were very elusive people, very shy into themselves, a group of people deep in the forest. They did not like to mingle with everybody else. So they had their own lifestyle, their own way of living. Families, big families, maybe 6, 7 children, mom and dad, and they would construct their houses and they would just work wood. But a daily lifestyle for them would be to teach the kids how to do it. So the boys would go out with the fathers or the uncles. They would do wood the whole day, and then the girls would be with mum, making bread, making beer, cleaning the house. Where we're standing now is a really important part of history of Stormsriver, because we've been driving on a path. So how did it come about? And this section right over here on my left is what is still the remains of the elephants that used to be here. Remember, we spoke about big animals that used to roam freely in the forest, and now we see nothing.
Yeah.
So your animals, or the elephants that were freely roaming here before we had interference of humans, used to use this specific area to move up and down. So the structure that a lot of past builders used were animals. And why did they not choose a bushbuck? Why?
Bushbucks are little?
They're little, absolutely. Animals or elephants are heavy. they're heavy-footed, and they weigh a few tons. So it was easy to use them because they would print out a solid path. And by following them, they knew they're going to a drier area, they're going to water. And we needed that as well. You need sometimes to be in a drier spot, you need to get to a place where there's water. So they started to follow their migratory route. So this is a physical blueprint of what the elephants used. The pass that is built now, or that's down there, it was much narrower than what we see now. So it was also quite difficult. I mean, if you had to travel with an ox wagon, those were huge things. So people also had to have a certain way of passing each other, working together. So normally people would walk, if you would come from, let's say, Cape Town side, we'll choose for you to come on a Monday and a Thursday. If you come from PE side, we'll choose a Saturday and a Friday. So they had certain days where they would come up or south or east or west. So those were the ways that they, went through the forest. Also to keep traffic away, because if you would travel, let's say, from Humansdorp to Platt, wasn't an hour, it was a few days. Yes. But yeah, so the path came about using elephants, and we are still learning from animals. Every day, a lot of research are being done on animal behavior, and then they also compare to human behavior. So still like in the old days, I think nothing has changed. It has just modernized. Yes. But that's why I'm saying history of the past is understanding the future.
Very true.
Yeah. So I just wanted to show you the piece that is the blueprint of the animals or the elephants that used to be here. But it's really clever how people decided to use the elephants. I think the pass builders, they were extraordinary people, because to construct a pass in dense forests, valleys and hills, that wasn't easy. And to be able to do that with the least amount of technology and equipment, it was all in here.
Exactly.
It was all in here, so that's something that we all, I think, can still learn from.
Totally.
Yeah.
Because they had no bulldozers.
They had nothing.
Diggers
No, they absolutely they had nothing. Like I said, everything was in the brain. It was thought out plans. That's why it's lasting. And that's for me so interesting and amazing to see, because now we think modern, technology has changed. Yes, it does help with a lot of things. Of course, we cannot take that away. But the older systems seem to be lasting quite much longer than, recent things we're trying to achieve.
Right, guys, so we are at Marilyn's Diner, which is one of the businesses and establishments that Chris Sykes owns. Chris, thank you for hosting us here.
You're welcome.
Yeah, we're looking forward to sampling some burgers and some beers.
Yeah.
So, can you just tell me a little bit about Marilyn's first of all, and then we'll move on to all the other amazing things that you do.
Marilyn's is a collection of 60s memorabilia, and it was started 10 years ago by Jan de Rand, and then a year later we took over the diner and added our own touch to the collection. So
Fantastic.
I really like motorbikes, and if something catches my eye, I'm always keen to buy it, related to the 60s, yeah. And the other thing, although I might be an owner, my wife is the boss.
Oh, we know that.
Okay.
That normally works that way in most relationships.
Yeah. Thanks.
Fantastic. But you also have the craft brewery next door to
yeah.
this. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
We kind of realized years ago you can't just be an accommodation establishment. You have to create exciting and interesting things for people to come to the town for. And I really love beer, and with two friends we decided the town needed a microbrewery.
Fantastic.
And about 7 or 8 years ago we opened up.
Fantastic.
And we do 10 different beers, and when we brew, people are welcome to come and help us, to watch.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
I think that is novel, and that makes it different from most other craft beer breweries. So you literally get people in your brewery helping you brew beer.
Yeah. So people normally they sit at the diner and they smell the malt, then they ask what's going on, and they're welcome. They come in, and most people don't know how beer is made whatsoever.
Absolutely, yes.
And they actually really understand more about the process and the ingredients.
Fantastic. Wonderful. Well, we'll be sure to try some of those beers, guys. But you mentioned accommodation, so let's talk about the Village Inn. Okay, so that's obviously a hotel, but there's a history to that as well.
Yep, it's also the hotel started off as a sawmill manager's house, and that was about 1880.
Wow.
And then 1949 became a hotel, and it's got a really interesting theme. You'll see the houses or the rooms that are around the village square have all got different colonial architectural features.
Fantastic.
So there's a Karoo house and there's a Cape Dutch and so on. So it's very unique. Yeah.
Fantastic, and you've got a restaurant on the premises
Yep.
as well. And guys,
Yes.
let me tell you, we had lamb curry there last night, and it was to die for.
Yeah. The restaurant that you had, your lamb curry in Hunter's Pub, that was actually the first building in the town.
Wow.
So it was a hunter's lodge in about 1840, and the guys used to walk from Nature's Valley to here to shoot pigs. And that just became part of the hotel. So it's now a restaurant.
Yes.
Yeah, it's got that really old vibe. And
Yes, that's amazing. That is so awesome. And then you also have the shop.
Yeah. Yeah.
Can you tell me a little bit about that?
The shop was kind of started out of necessity with the corona, and really we lost out on all our bookings for a year at the hotel. And in any way possible to actually save jobs, we created the shop, and the staff in the kitchen make biscuits and rusks and coffee that we would roast ourselves for the hotel. We now sell, and we make our old biltong, and we make our own cheese and now sell to the public instead of using it in the hotel's kitchens.
Fantastic.
And it's been really successful. And now it's called Shop Local because everything in the shop comes from this area. If it's honey or it's cordials or anything, it's coming from here.
Fantastic. So in that way you also support the local economy.
Yeah.
That is absolutely
because
amazing.
we kind of know that we're an integral part. If we succeed, the locals will succeed, and the other way around as well.
Absolutely.
We have to really support each other now.
That is so true. That is so true. I mean, collaboration is key.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
and more so between yourself and the community.
Yeah, definitely. Because if we succeed, then they succeed. We're not an island in the middle of this little area. We feel everything, and if we're successful, everybody else is. Yeah.
Fantastic. And Chris, thank you so much for hosting
welcome.
us, for chatting to me. And I think on that note, guys, we are going to go have our hamburgers, and yes, we will be having beers.
Cheers.
Oh. They seem to be quite affectionate, eh?
Yeah, so that's the thing, is they look very affectionate as pups.
Yeah.
And they'll be very affectionate sometimes even up to 2 years.
Yeah.
After that 2 years, there's a huge mental change. That's when they hit sexual maturity. What they're actually doing right now is trying to communicate. What they really want to do is actually lick my face and get my saliva. And that's one of the ways they communicate. So there's actually, they do with sound, smell, and also they have their tails and face. Because if you look at the tail, there's a little black tip. So it allows the rest of the wolves, if they raise it or put it between their legs, to see it easier.
Okay.
And over there is Sharon. Now she's half coyote and half wolf.
Okay.
Okay.
So she's the den mom at the moment because her personality allows that. So that's why we put them with these two. Robin still tries to bully her because of her personality, but you can see even right now, I think Tatsuki is right now eating some meat. What we fed them yesterday, and what they do is they'll indulge themselves where their stomach literally expands to the point where they literally look like little wolf balloons. And then they'll bury the rest of their food so it can almost soften a bit, so their stomach is process is easier. So even after a few days after actually getting the food, they'll still be eating. There's also dogs also do it. They're bury dogs, bury bones and meat. So right now it looks like he's found some of his old snacks. The one with the tail between his leg is the mega, this one. And what she's doing is being very submissive. So you can see she's putting her tail straight between under her and she's walking very low. And she's trying to be as submissive as possible because this pack, the mega is closer, but still the mega still has to be submissive compared to the rest. So the alpha will be the one standing.
Next to the stump.
Yeah, by the stump. So as you can see, they're not as big as lions and a lot of other predators. But where their strength really lies is in their pack.
Yeah.
I mean, they can take out. There's elk and also a lot of big prey, bison in America, where the prey is massive, and they manage to take them out very easily. They're very skilled at hunting and communicating in such a way that they're able to take out these large animals. They also have 3 times the biting strength of a dog. So it's pretty amazing what they can do. So they also have their speed, it goes from 6 kilometers, and also when they're on the pace, about 30 kilometers. And when they're sprinting, they can go about 60 kilometers.
60?
Yeah, when they're sprinting.
It's just sort of a cheetah.
Yeah, so basically they are very, very fast. Here's our 2 promised one. Let's see if I can find him. To turn that one. But he's after a while, after he gets a little bit bigger, he's going to go into this den over here.
Okay.
As you can see, he was interested for a moment, and then he's done. He's not. He doesn't need to stay around us all the time. Now, even this size, they're going to start hunting with the pack.
Yeah.
So they start learning at a very early age.
Well, guys, we overnighted at Misty Mountain Resort, and as you can see behind me, it is raining and there is mist. Voila! Yesterday we did the most amazing quad bike tour and we saw the most fabulous sunset. The weather was perfect. So from absolute amazing summer weather to winter and rain, you find it all right here in Tsitsikamma. So whether it is adventure that you are looking for or peace and quiet and tranquility. The Tsitsikamma has it all. We have absolutely fallen in love with this area and with its people. The most amazing things that you can do and see here. It is just fantastic. From the scenery, it's got it all. The mountains, the forest, the gorge, the ocean, the beaches. There's literally something for everybody to do here, guys. But unfortunately, after a fantastic, amazing, adventurous weekend, our time here in the beautiful Tsitsikamma has come to an end. But do catch us next time, guys, on another episode of Go Well with Sharon on our whirlwind tour through the beautiful Eastern Cape. So from me, unfortunately, it is goodbye for now.